Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Channel 135 podcast, part of the WesWes Network, brought to you by WesWesNet.com. My name's Cams, and I'm here in the house with the brothers. We got Stace, all the way from the Counteract podcast. What's up, Uzo?
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me on again. Cheers.
No worries, man. No worries. And straight out of Ranui, we got the brother in the house, Eric. What's up?
Hey, good to be back again.
This is good to be back. Good to be back. Talk about one of the top shows going on right now. One of them. Because the other one, there's a few. And because there's a few stuff on TV, you know, people out there want to listen to us to get some recommendations. So I come up with this little segment to start off each of the podcasts called the Channel Recommends. So we'll just go around. What would you guys recommend to the listeners to watch on either streaming the movies or some trailers or up and coming stuff? Start with you, Eric.
Yeah, we were talking about one earlier, just before we jumped off. The last Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's released today. Eh? Is it? No, tomorrow. So it'll be popping up tomorrow. And from what you told me, it's like 3 hours long.
Totally, man. It's 3 hours long, man. I don't know if I can last 3 hours in the movie theater, man.
Yeah, I was thinking, shit, we could check it out. Watch it on the IMAX. Fucking 3 hours on the IMAX, bro. Fuck off. Hell no, that's too long. Man, you could my eyes will be square by the time we come out of that thing.
Yeah, I know it's an expensive movie. It costs $400 million to make.
What?
And that's up there with Titanic stars and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Bro.
but I remember the last film, Reckoning Part 1. Because this is Part 2 of that one. I don't think it was that good. I don't remember it being that good. And I remember I see that cost, the first one cost $300 million to make. And it sort of had a small profit. They didn't really, they expected to make a lot of money on that, but the projections were too high. So it didn't quite make the money they thought it would make. But it did make a profit, but not that much. So it's surprising to me that the next one, I guess they were quote, they were too invested into it, so they had to make part 2. This one cost $400 million, extra $100 million to make. So judging from the last one that came out and the box office it did do, it would be interesting to see what happens with this one, eh?
Yeah. I do want to watch it, but 3 hours, man, that's way too long.
Get into the Mission Impossible movie series, Stace?
It's like one of those things. I'm into it at the start, and then I just keep on trying to milk as much money as they can out of it, and I sort of fade off a bit. So what number are you up to now? Because
yeah, I'm not even sure.
It's getting up there.
I don't even remember. I just remember the publicity for the last one, where they were using Tom Cruise's actual stunt, where he was jumping off the bike with the parachute. Yeah, they were showing it everywhere. I was expecting one for this one, but there was nothing. So I was like, oh, okay. That's not a good sign.
How old is he? He must be nearly 60. Can he still do those things now?
Yeah, true. I don't. That's crazy. Yeah. He's one of my favorite actors too, but he's weird.
Credit where credit's due. He's a great actor.
Real professional actor.
I don't.
Yeah.
And he's still like a leading actor, right? Like if you think about Tom Cruise back in the days, like even Top Gun back in the days, like in the 80s, and he's still playing these type of lead character roles, in these kind of films. So yeah, to me it looks like I remember the Mission Impossible back in the days, the TV series.
Yeah,
and these movies are nothing like the TV series, what I remember, because I remember the TV series was about the whole team, rather than just one person. Now we got like Ethan Hunt. They sort of made these movies into like a American version of James Bond. So Ethan Hunt's like the American James Bond, or the Americans' answer to the British James Bond, man. So
it's funny you mentioned the old school Mission Impossible. I remember one episode clearly about them trying to project themselves as the devil, and how they were burning the floor with like that looks like hooves, but they used like iron plates. I still remember this episode. I don't know why. It was crackle.
So you recommending that, man? Until you heard the 3 hours?
Yeah. I mean, if you like the Mission Impossible and you love Tom Cruise that much, then go check it out. Check it out on IMAX, make it my eyeball square, whatever. But yeah,
they need those intermissions again, so you can have a little break, toilet break, or whatever you need to do.
Yeah,
But you watch the trailer, right, and you see how 400 million. You see all that money, where all that money goes, because it looks like a spectacular kind of movie. Like a lot of stunts, a lot of out of it scenes you see in the trailer, like a lot of fight scenes, and
I reckon it'll be non-stop, from beginning to end.
It better be, because 3 hours, man. You wanna you want that 3 hours, not to be like boring. But from the trailer, it doesn't look boring. It looks like action packed.
Yeah.
But these are the type of movies they're making now, like all those comic book movies, these type of movies, those movies that are really good, like IMAX type movies, heaps of big special effects, because there's no DVD video store revenue anymore.
That's right.
So they make these big action-packed, massive scenes that you need to watch on the big screen, and try to get you to go to the movie theater, because that's the primary source of getting their revenue back now that there's no video DVD second wind of money.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good call there, Stace. What comes to you, Stace? Well, anything you recommend out there for the listeners?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I was just sort of, anyone who knows me knows I'm a bit of a sports fan. So I was scrolling through Netflix and I saw on my recommendations there was a documentary which is due for release this week called Vini Jr. And it's about Vinicius, the Brazilian footballer, who he also plays for Real Madrid. So I don't know his full sort of background story of his youth and stuff, but he was signed by Real Madrid as a teenager, and at the time that was the most expensive deal for a teenager in history. 38 million they paid for this young kid when he was like 16. So you can imagine, sort of like what LeBron James went through. There's a lot of pressure that comes with being the next big thing when you're only a kid. But to his credit, he sort of went like LeBron James. He's now arguably the best football player in the world. But I remember hearing on the news, this is a few years back, that when he first got to Spain, he was subjected to a lot of racial vilification and stuff from a lot of the fans and people over there. So that's a lot for just a young teenage kid to deal with. So he came out publicly and he sort of blasted the Spanish league. They sort of stepped back and didn't help him out, didn't do anything about it. And he criticized them and saying they were normalizing racism and that sort of stuff. So now he's a bit older. He's like in his early 20s, but he's an advocate for human rights. And like I said, he's one of the best players on the planet. So I'm just really interested to watch the documentary, hear a bit of his background and sort of what shaped him into who he's become. So, Vinny Jr. coming on Netflix, I think tomorrow or Friday. Friday, sorry, I think, yeah. So that could be worth a watch.
Nice. Vinny Jr. You put that up for the rest of the sports documentaries that are on Netflix. And
exactly.
I always think about that trend, even after, is it Drive to Survive?
Yeah.
What's the F1 one?
Yeah, Drive to Survive.
Yeah, that style of documentary, came out. It's a series, a sports series documentary, Drive to Survive. That was so good that garnered a lot of new fans into F1.
Yep.
Just that program alone. And a lot of these sports have seen what's happened. They have Drive to Survive and sort of try to market their sports by doing these little documentary series, and see a few of them pop up there. Like I see there's a golf one, a Full Swing. Have you seen that?
Yep.
So there's a golf one, and there's a few out there now. So yeah, it's interesting how sport. I think sports documentaries are alive and well.
Yeah,
but
I agree with you about that Drive to Survive, because that's one of the best sports documentary shows I've ever seen. So I watch that all the time, but I couldn't care less about F1 before.
Yeah.
But now you watch it and then you start to know the drivers and you get to know their personalities. I watch it a little bit, whereas before, for the first 40 odd years of my life, I didn't give a shit about F1. So it works, man. They're getting so much more revenue and fans, as you mentioned, through the documentary. So there's something in there for sure.
Yeah. Because when you get down to that, I've seen season 1, and that was really good. And you get down to that nitty gritty of how it works. F1, you go and look into the crews, the camps, and even the money that goes into building these cars, and the best car manufacturers that are in these competitions, and you get a feel for how it goes and the stress and all that kind of like the same as team sports. When you're up against someone in competition, it's exactly the same thing with the crews and the stress they go through. People get fired. stuff like that. It's the
Yeah.
drama, the drama behind the scenes.
That's
Is pretty interesting.
right.
What do I recommend? I probably recommend people not to watch this, but I watched Drop. that movie Drop. Have you guys seen that? It's on Plex right now. So, man, that was the worst movie. Here's the premise, right? So a girl goes on a blind date, and as she's on the blind date, she has to leave her kid with a babysitter, right? And the babysitter's her sister while she's on this blind date. She gets sort of blackmailed on her phone as a text to kill the date. And if she doesn't, there's a guy waiting at the house ready to kill her son. So everything's on their phone. So that's the premise of the film, right?
That sounds alright.
It does sound alright. And when you watch the trailer, it looks cool. It looks interesting.
Yep.
But man, I watched it today, and I'm gonna spoil alert this because, like, this is what I hate about some of these action movies or thriller movies. When the bad guy at the end has all the chances in the world to kill the good guy, and doesn't.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of the movie, the bad guy is easy to kill the family, easy to kill the friend, the friend of the hero, or all the people that the supporting cast. Easy for the bad guy to kill them. But when it comes to the hero at the end, why is it so hard just to shoot the hero in the head like that? It's like, I hate when that happens. It happens all the time in action movies, man.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. That's what sort of killed it. But it wasn't really realistic to me at the end. So, yeah, that's my recommends. I recommend not to watch it.
That's good to know. I've only got limited time. I can't waste my time with dumb shows and dumb movies. You don't watch the good ones.
Yeah, follow that.
It's just had the most stupidest ending I've ever seen in an action movie. Like, no way. This must be the worst hitman ever in any movie. Like at the end, like, come on, man. You got just one job, man. You couldn't even do that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Okay, boys. We're here to talk about The Last of Us season 2. What episode are we on? 5? Is this 5? This is 5, eh? Because 7 episodes season. Did you guys know that? Only got 2 more episodes to go.
Gee.
Oh, I thought it was 9.
Nah, it's only 7. And
shit.
I'm thinking the same as you guys. What are we gonna do in the next 2 episodes? Because it looks like nothing's going to resolve anything.
No.
We haven't even seen the leader of the WLF yet. Like, he hasn't even come in the picture to confront any of our main characters. So 2 more episodes to go. We'll do some spoilers so we can just go straight into talking about the episode. So we're gonna do some spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode and you're listening, stop this podcast right now. Go watch the episode, come back and listen to us break it down. So episode 5, Feel for Her, directed by Stephen Williams, written by Craig Mazin. En route to the hospital, Ellie and Dinah encounter more dead Seraphites. Ellie questions bringing Dinah, but Dinah reiterates her commitment to their quest for revenge. They are ambushed by stalkers in an abandoned warehouse and saved by Jesse, who had arrived in Seattle with Tommy to look for the 2. Pursued by the WLF, the 3 enter a local park and witness the Seraphites disembowel a WLF soldier. Dinah is shot in the leg with an arrow and Jesse carries her out of the park while Ellie creates a diversion to attract the Seraphites. After evading them, Ellie continues to the hospital alone. She chases Nora into the quarantine basement that is covered in airborne cordyceps spores, which infect Nora but not Ellie. Nora realizes Ellie was the immune girl for whom Joel had killed the Fireflies. Ellie reveals she already knows what Joel did to save her and beats Nora with a pipe to find Abby's whereabouts. And that was your Channel 135 recap. Start with you, Stace. First thoughts of this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. A lot of action. It was quite intense. But I thought episode 5, was a little bit of a mixed bag. A bit of everything that we've seen so far in season 2. So we saw some of the wolves, some Seraphite stuff. Ellie and Dina's romance came through, some bits around the infected, and it made me think of our pod last week, Cams, when you asked, how the show would go without Joel in it. So in this episode, I was really drawn to the the opening scene with the WLF barricades, the spores at the end. Last week I was really interested in Isaac killing those Fedra guys, and then the torture scene, that really grabbed me. So I'm more interested in other storylines other than Ellie and Dina. So I think that's actually a really valid question, because I'm sort of struggling to enjoy the main characters that are left sort of post Pedro Pascal leaving the show. And that's sort of what I took out of that episode. It's sort of like, well, I'm not that interested in the main characters that are still there. I like these sort of subplots that are happening around. So, they got to get Pedro back in there somehow.
Yeah, too bad it's flashbacks.
Exactly.
It had to be flashbacks.
How are you, Eric? First thoughts?
Yeah, no, look, like what Stacey was saying, I wasn't even probably through that whole episode. I didn't even, I was more interested in the infected, especially when we were talking about the spores in the beginning of this episode. I was really more invested in that than the main characters themselves. So the whole sets where they're in the basement, the claustrophobic environment with the fungi, man, that was mean sets. Kind of spooky, like it kind of reminded me of Stranger Things, because I'm a big fan of that as well. And the air is kind of murky with those spore-like things in the air, so that was pretty neat. So yeah, no, it kind of revealed a bit more on what's happening with the fungus, because it looks like it's getting worse. It's like it's evolving somehow. So yeah, that's kind of cool that it branches out to that side of the story. To have to worry about Ellie and Dana bitching all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you guys brought that up about the way you guys are feeling about the show in terms of, Joel not being there and Ellie sort of putting on his shoes and trying to lead the way. I'm not loving it, eh? I'm not loving that part of the show. I love the show, don't get me wrong. Man, it's an awesome show, man. It's like the relationships between the Seraphites and the WLF, their conflict up against what's going on in the world of the apocalypse and the ever-evolving threat, like the cordyceps, eh? Like now they've introduced what's in the game, the airborne spores, which I thought they weren't going to do because of practical reasons. You don't want your characters to wear gas masks everywhere all the time, and that was sort of the reason why they pulled that part of the story back. So they've sort of confined it to a basement number 2 out of 3. So it was interesting they brought that up, but it just shows how much higher the stakes are now for living in this world. So I'm interested in how far do humans go if they're in conflict before they have to say, "Oh, look, man, there's like fucking cordyceps like turning into spores now, and we're going to fight each other and not even survive that." So what's the end game? Is it worth having a conflict now? Does the WLF and the Seraphites have to come to agreement and say, "Hey, look, man, we can kill each other, or we can fight against what's going on, because otherwise there'll be none of us left," right? So I think to me that's a story in itself. That's a story right there, and that's why I think when you guys say more interested in that story, I think that is why. That is one of the narratives that coming out of the background of it. Or now I had a hot take on this. I had a hot take on Ellie, and that is Ellie is actually the bad guy. Because if you think about what she's doing, think of what Joel did. He killed everyone in the hospital in season 1. Just because of he's selfish, and he wants to save Ellie, who had the cure that will probably put the Earth back to normal, right? So he ruins that. And it's valid that Abby sends a team over to hunt the guy that killed her dad, hunt him down. And that's what she did. And then, if you did that to a bad guy, what's the bad guy going to do? His henchman is going to come after you, right? So the story changes, right? And if you think about what the WLF are, they go against the corruption of Fedra, right? So to me, WLF seem like the good guys. They're just doing bad stuff for survival. So if you look at it that way, if you turn the tables around, who's bad and good, and you make the WLF the good guys in this story, then it's more clear. I think when I look at it that perspective, to me it's more clear. The Ellie is the bad guy, and that what needs to happen is that WLF, they need to sort it out.
Yeah, I do wonder, like Ellie's on this rampage trying to get the daughter, but they're actually quite a lot more alike than she might realize, because the daughter went on this revenge plot to get her vengeance, and now she's doing the exact same thing. So she's got a lot of hate for what that daughter did. But if she was to look at her, she might see very similar traits. So I think that they might be quite a lot alike as well. So yeah, that's actually interesting to see what's going to happen when they meet up. But I like you guys mentioned about the evolution of the cordyceps just in general and how it's evolving, because like you said, it just puts into perspective how the people are going as well at the same time. So you think it's been 2003 was that outbreak? It's been 20 odd years or whatever, and we've seen the fungus evolve. So there's the smart zombies which have just started coming out. Then there's the spores which was just seen in this episode, and then they're showing those bits in the ground where they're all sort of connected and working together. On the flip side of that, in the world of the living people, humanity has divided itself into all these sort of subgroups, and they're actually at war with each other and killing each other.
Yeah.
So, I didn't play the game, so I don't know what's going to happen. But just where we're sitting at now in the show, they're just making it easier for the fungus to sort of win at this stage. The people are more concerned about their own infighting. So, yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds.
Yeah. Because it looks like both groups, the Wolf and Seraphites, are fighting for resources. They're trying to go grab what they can, and thinking that the other group doesn't deserve it. But
now they're going to need face masks and stuff, so there's going to be more resource fighting. It's going to get even worse, probably potentially, than get better. You think?
Yeah,
and I think that there's a story there. There's a story. It tells humanity to take a look at yourself in the mirror and see what's most important. The threat that's real, that's out there, or the threat amongst yourselves, which is just a concept, right? It's just a construct, right? Like if you just make up and fight these zombies, then maybe you can fight another day. So I think that's a more interesting story. Yeah.
But if the fungus can get one of those breathers to talk on its behalf type thing, that happens in horror movies, you might say, "Man, you humans, you are the real fungus, mate. You are the evil ones. I'm trying to save the world from you guys," and all that sort of stuff. We've seen those types of AI things where, AI takes over the world because they say that the humans are the worst things on Earth. I wonder if they could get that to happen there. Like, shit, yeah.
So there's that. The other thing that backs up my idea of one other thing, the reason why I'm not feeling Ellie is she's still acting like a little kid, man, like immature. Like there's those parts in the beginning of the episode, especially when Diana, she's trying to triangulate how to approach this hospital, and Ellie's in the background acting like a little kid, like she's doing little kid stuff. And man, you can't, man. Like if Joel was there, there wouldn't be that sort of thing happening. So I was really glad when Jesse shows up, and he had the right thing in mind. Come on, you guys did your best. Let's go back. Let's go back. So, and he doesn't even know that Dinah's pregnant. If Dinah had told him right in that spot, hell no, we're going back now. We're going back now.
He would have grabbed him by the neck, man, and dragged him out.
But you can see when Jesse shows up and Ellie's asking him questions and he's like, "Do you think I want to talk right now?" And he just shuts her down, and then she's like, "Oh, we're doing okay," and he says, "Oh, whatever, blah blah blah." And you can see, he's a real follow the rules guy. So in his mind, you can see his mindset. He's thinking, "We had a meeting, we had decided you can't go. Now you guys are fucking gone off, and I've got to come in here and bloody save your stupid asses." So he's just you can see he's really pissed off that they didn't sort of follow the rules, because he's that follow the rules type of guy,
And he's also pissed off because man, I'm about to be the president of
Exactly,
Jackson,
man.
man. I'm in there. I'm
Exactly.
in the council. I'm trying to climb the ladder, man. You drag me out here for your bring your ass home.
And he's risking Jacksonville as well.
Yeah,
By
exactly.
the Wolves going over, so there's all of that in play as well. So Jesse's probably thinking about all of that and just looking at them going, "Fuck, man, it's bigger than you."
Yeah, that's right. There's that scene in the auditorium where Ellie comes across like all the instruments. Again, we see the guitar.
Yeah, I thought she was going to do another song.
Well, she was beginning to do another song. She actually said a few words and then she stopped.
Yeah.
And then next minute she turned all badass. So I think, what was that trying to say? To me, it was trying to say, okay, stop with the serenading and the time to get down to business. Get down to the revenge part of your trip now.
Yeah.
That was a funny scene. I was like trying to figure out what the point of that scene was. Maybe it might be more obvious in the next episode or something, but because, I don't want to cut to the end, but she just goes full psycho.
Yeah.
And I was a bit taken aback because I didn't think that she was that type of person. She hasn't really tortured anyone or done that sort of shit. She kills the infected, who you could say they're not really people, they're zombies anyway. She killed that buddy cannibal dude in season 1, but she's never been a guy to just be ruthless. I've been someone who's just ruthless, torture people and do that sort of crazy psycho shit.
Yeah.
So I always thought, what's the point of that scene? I thought she might try to. They could have built it a bit better because she just changed it to something else. Or she could have smashed the guitar around and shown somebody craziness or something.
It's a silent, like a silent monster.
But we were heading that way, right? With her character, we were going to head that way. I think at the end of the season, she's going to be full blown, like I mentioned earlier, Sarah Connor mode. We got a glimpse of that when she was beating up on Nora. But
I don't think she was that type of person. I haven't seen that in her so far. So I remember we did our predictions last week and we thought that Dina might die, and I was watching it the first 10 minutes. They have lovey-dovey. She says she loves her. They're setting it up perfectly for her to die. She's going to kill her and the baby. But if that happened, then I could see Ellie going full crazy. She's lost everything. Her whole happy future, being a dad, and all that shit's taken away from her. And then I could see her going crazy. But I felt like that scene at the end just went batshit crazy out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I was sort of a bit taken aback by that a little bit.
Well, especially if you think about, like this beginning of this episode and last episode, when we see her relationship with Dinah, and it's growing, and the lovey-dovey with each other. You sort of feel like the revenge part of their trip is taking a backseat for their relationship to grow. And I get the feeling, especially with the serenade scene last week, and the scene when they just escape from those hordes and they have sex, that that revenge part is taking a backseat. And for Ellie, I feel like she lost a bit of that energy, that anger. It's just sort of got to step back. And now with this episode, I think when she starts playing the guitar and she stops after that one line, and she goes and she stops and she probably goes back into that revenge mode thing. But then when Dinah's telling her about her past, about how this guy killed her family and she killed the guy, and because Ellie was like telling her, "Oh, I think we should go home because you're pregnant," and she goes, "Nah, I'm in this. Don't use my pregnancy as an excuse. I'm in." And then Ellie sort of says, "Okay," but she doesn't say, "Okay, let's go." She just says, "Okay," it's real softly. So to me, it's a backtrack on how Ellie feels about carrying on with this revenge thing. Eh? But then again, when she catches up with Nora, it comes back. Eh? So
yeah. That's what I found. The episode's a bit jumpy. Eh? She's all in and she's out. So I was a bit, I don't know, the pieces are sort of wasn't coming together nicely, eh? So that was just sort of one thing I thought.
Yeah, I think there's two separate people. There's Ellie, the Ellie we see on the other side, and then there's Ellie, the psychopath. She's got two personalities.
Like, when they were like actually going into their warehouse, they were like and they're inside, just thinking about what their plan was. They're planning how to attack this, how to get through. Right at that point, I was thinking, what are these little shits doing, man? Like, these little kids like running around, like thinking everything's all good because they've killed one before, and it's like, nah, you're dealing with something else. This is you're in over your heads, man. And you're acting like it's like you've done it before, you got experience. And then we see when they stuck in that warehouse with all those smart zombies there. It takes Jesse to come and rescue them. But that's what I mean, man. Like, just going in full guns blazing, and just not thinking about stuff and being naive, like thinking they know how to do it, and they find out
they can't do it.
Oops, we're stuck now. It's like, see, that's what happens. You feel like.
Well, you see that part with Dana when she gets...
I had that mentality.
Yeah.
You can imagine like an island parent just grabbing the kids by the ears and saying, fucking hell. Idiots, get in there.
Well, you see that part with Dana when she gets shot in the leg, right? She completely folds. She's like, oh no, let's go back. He's like, I'm out, let's go back.
Yeah.
And she just picks her up and then off they go.
So that's probably the main reason why I'm disliking Ellie as the main character here, because the way she acts. I think the way she is at the end of this, it's interesting if she's gonna turn full blown, because this is the Ellie probably I'm waiting for. The one that's like pretty dark and confident.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're gonna get, because once you start going down that path, torturing people and for information and that sort of killing them and all sorts of dark shit, that there's no turning back from there. You can't just go back to being a normal person. You're gone full dark side by that stage. So I think we will get that darker version of Ellie while she's on her revenge cycle. So I definitely think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Interesting scene too is the very beginning, and I have a lot of sympathy for the WLFA, because the first clue we get on how they are is they go against the Fedra, right? They've probably killed all of the Fedra in Seattle, and we know the Fedra are bad. They're the government's army. They're trying to put things right, but they're corrupt. So obviously there's going to be an uprising against that, and that's what the WLF are. And when we see that scene with, I think one of the leaders, I forgot her name. She was the girl that met with Isaac in that flashback in the last episode.
Yep.
She's talking with the Asian lady who lost her son. Who lost her son, because she was describing how they discovered that basement. So the basement 1 was empty. No, the ground floor was empty. Basement 1 was empty, but basement 2 had spores there.
Yep.
And her son was leading that army, that team to go in, and they discovered the spores and they locked them in.
Yeah.
So being a mum and how she made the decision to lock her own son in, like, see, that's a contrast to what Joel did.
That's right.
With Ellie. Like, Joel couldn't let the doctors kill Ellie to get the cure, so he killed the doctors. Whereas we see this poor mother, actually locking her son with the team in when the spores are, because knowing that it's game over.
Yeah.
To save the WLF, she has to sacrifice her son. So that's something that the opposite to what Joel has done. So that thing, in my mind, I thought, okay, these WLF can't be all bad. They're doing the right things, right? They are there because Fedras are assholes, right? They are there because they need to survive, right? They are there doing what they're doing because they need to protect themselves from a cult, right? That's going around, running around, thinking that they're, I don't know, whatever they think they are, right? So,
true.
So they're just doing what they are doing. They're reacting to what's happening. So It's a brutal world in the apocalypse. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive. It's not like these guys, like the Seraphites who are doing evil shit, manipulating, going out of their way to make up a religion to keep their to keep their people, intact. So,
well, you see that sacrifice that they pulled off in the garden. It's like, fuck, they're serious.
Yeah. That's a good point that you raised, Cams, about that opening scene, because that's sort of that question, are you prepared to sacrifice your child to save the world? That's sort of one of the fundamental building blocks of the whole show. So I like how they incorporated the opposite for that poor Chinese lady. But you remember at the start of that scene, they got that lady who's the leader, and you can tell she's a bit pissed off. She's like, bro, they obviously didn't do what they're supposed to do. And you can see she's sort of going to get grilled off.
Yeah.
And then when she says that she's sealed in that dude, and you can see her body language change because she knows that basically she sacrificed her son to keep everyone else safe. So that's when she just grabs her cigarette and all the rest of it. But she said something really crucial, and then she goes, there's those 3 levels of the basement. So they go down to B1, and then she said, there's nothing in there, not even rats.
Yeah.
They get down to B2, and that's where the spores are. And then they bloody lock that up and the rest of it, so no one can get down there. But there's B3. What's in there, man? Shit. There must be some fucking Incredible Hulk level fucking zombies in there, bro.
Yeah, no, you're right too, Stace. Massive spoiler.
Apparently in the game you can go to B3A.
Yeah, not only that, there's my brother, me and my brother were watching the episode, right? And I was going, oh shit, the airborne spores. And he goes, yeah. Like, there's fungi on the wall. And he goes, yeah. Oh man, where's all the rodents and stuff? I goes, yeah, there's something else down here too. I was like, huh? I didn't know what he was talking about. And then I had a little jab online. Apparently, there's another Evolve.
Oh,
fuck! So, and it's worse than all the rest. So,
hey, shit. See,
I was
that's
like,
what I'm talking about, man. What does it gonna take, man? What does it take for the humans to sort it out, man? Like, you can't be fighting, man. Fighting each other.
On Walking Dead, they always face the same type of zombie. I mean, they got their little enhancements, but this is crazy. These zombies they got spores, clickers, smart ones, loaders, and now they've got these other. I think it's called a Rat King.
Rat King.
Yeah, I think it's called the Rat King.
What?
So I'm like, what the fuck? Because you know how the lady mentions that all the rats in there have disappeared, and that not even the rats are there. Yeah, I think it's become that thing. So I don't know what. So, but depending how long it's been down there, it's probably pretty fucking big.
Well, they said when they were first looking in the hospital that was where they took the very first patients who had the infection. So you think that those spores and those are the people who have been infected the longest. So some of the people that were stuck to the walls, there was a guy who had
was breathing out the spores.
Yeah, he had like hospital scrubs on.
Yeah, that's right.
So he could have been one of the first nurses, like from way, way back at the first start, who got stuck down there with the infected patients. 2003. So that's how long. Yeah, 2003. So that's 20 years of evolution, man. That's like the next most evolved stuff, whatever else is down there.
Yeah, that whole set was fucking gruesome. I mean, I've seen some bad sets in games and stuff, but that was freaky. Especially with the air. I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently we might see the Rat King next, probably the last episode.
Well, that's actually quite interesting, because, you think about a lot of zombie shows, they stick to the rules and still all the rest of it. So, and Last of Us has done a lot very similar. So if you get bitten, you turn into a zombie. That's sort of like one of the classic rules. And Last of Us has followed that for the most part. So it's good to see this evolution of some of these other things with the spores and these other whatever evolution of zombies as well, which we haven't really seen before.
Because you think about it, humans have lasted 20 years. Humans have lasted over 20 years, keeping the normal evolutions at bay, right? You got the zombies, then you got the clickers, then you got the smart ones coming through. Now you got next level of spores. Now, man, once you hear the spores, the look on the leader's face when the Chinese lady told her about spores,
That's
Yeah,
right.
how
bro.
her face changed.
Hard on.
Man, you know what she was thinking? Bro, we are fucked. We are fucked.
But
you
you,
think the Seraphites are bad? Nah, mate, we are fucked.
but you
So-
know what was out of it though? They wouldn't lock down the hospital because of they actually need it. But
Yeah, that's right. They do.
that whole basement is in the hospital, so somehow they need to get rid
Well,
of it
I
somehow.
wonder if that might be something that happens in the next episode because
Oh.
they went down there. That girl, she opened the elevator shaft. I wonder if that's a way of the spores coming out and being part of the wider show now. It's not necessarily contained anymore.
Yeah,
That
well,
might happen in the next couple of episodes
Well,
as well.
did you hear the soldiers when they were chasing after
yeah,
Ellie? They backtrack, they stop, and you can hear them in the background say, "Oh, they opened the lift.
Oh, I
we need
missed
to
that. I missed that. I'll have
we
to
need
rewatch
to
that.
shut it down."
yeah.
True.
So
Oh, I didn't see that.
they
So
might
they probably locked
barricade
Ellie
that
in there,
door.
eh?
Fuck, should be in there.
So Ellie's probably stuck in there.
Fuck, that'd be freaky.
So next episode we're gonna see Ellie fight the Rat King or whatever that's down there.
Nah, I think next episode is going to be a flashback of why Ellie was so angry at Joel in the first place.
Oh really? Do you think?
I'm thinking that because if you see the last part of the episode, she's like happy ass, like she's absolutely happy, and she sees Joel and she's got no problems with it. So it's probably before she got mad at Joel.
Yeah.
So you think
it is
she's mad because
you
Joe
think,
told her? Joe
yeah.
told her. Joe
Or
tells
she
her.
confronted him.
Joe
I
tells
think
her
so.
what happened there. And that's
Yeah,
why
so
she's
what-
mad, eh?
So what she told Nora is probably the truth. Like
Yeah,
how
I
she
think
said she
you're right
already
there.
knew.
That scene where she has that flashback, he walks into her room and she's sleeping in her own bed. But you remember in
Yeah.
episode 1,
She
the
was in,
tension's already started and she's living in the garage. So
Yeah.
that's obviously before. I think that's before he tells her the truth,
Yeah.
and then he tells her, and then she like gets all shitty and moves out. So yeah, I'm with you, Eric. I think that might be next episode type thing as well.
Yeah, I couldn't get over Nora's face when she goes, "Oh, I know," and she's like, "Fuck, this little bitch."
So
Yeah,
that's
that
probably
was
why.
weird.
That's probably why she doesn't care. Because what's done is done.
Yeah,
So what can you do? Like, if it was up to her, that's why she's mad at Joey. If it was up to her, she would have let it happen. Hey, that's why she's mad. Eh? She would want to sacrifice herself.
yeah. But
I don't
you
know.
know
I'm
what?
not sure.
I think she might sacrifice herself. I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking she's like, "Fuck you guys! You guys killed Joel. Fuck the human race." She might end up doing one of those ones. I don't know.
See, because I that's where I sort of got a bit, started coming off Ellie as well, because we didn't know that she knew. We thought that she was sort of in the dark. So
Yeah.
for me, the motivation I thought was just revenge because her dad Joel got killed for unknown reasons. But if she knows exactly what happened and why he got killed, she must be thinking, "Oh, well, that's sort of what we're mentioning. Like, that's fair enough why you got killed there, brother. I love you, but man, dang, you shouldn't have done that shit."
Yeah.
So for her to still go on the revenge trip with her knowing, I'm just like, what's motivating her now? It feels a bit strange, and I didn't like how they made the people think that she didn't know and all that sort of stuff. It sort of, I was thinking that her motivation was something completely different. Now I'm not sure what it is. So it feels like people in the game probably know what's going on and why it's happening, but yeah, I was a bit like, what the heck is
Yeah,
she
I don't
carrying on for?
I don't think for certain we know that she knows, but I'm guessing she. I'm just going by that last scene that I saw, so it's just like shit. Probably that's why she got pissed off in the first place.
So we need more information in the story
Yeah.
to make us figure out her motivations for the revenge, if it's not the obvious. But Dinah, her motivations to help, to go for the revenge. She tells the story of her past and what happened, but yeah, what's that about? Because obviously she doesn't need to be there, but she's doing it for Ellie. So,
Yeah, I think she was trying to point out that like when whoever came first to killing her family or the guy, it shouldn't matter in how somebody should kill somebody, something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch on to it, but I think it was on that premises. So I think she was explaining to Ellie that what she's doing right now is valid because of what Abby did to Joel. But you can see Ellie's like trying to back out because of Dana being pregnant. But I think she's probably telling her to go back, and she carries on with the mission. Who knows? I could be wrong about that too.
Well, before she got shot with the arrow, she was down to go back home.
Yeah, I think Dana was already waiting to go back home because fucking after you see like how many 6 or 8 smart clickers, man. What the fuck? What do you do with those?
Yeah,
you can't kill those by yourself.
Sarah fights wolves. You're like, nah,
this is over, bro. It's over. I want to go home.
And Jesse's like, bro, you guys are basically gonna die. This is one of those missions where the chances of survival of that many different groups and dangers out there is pretty low. We'll just go home, man. I like how they filled that in Dina's backstory because I was questioning her motivation. It can't just be because they're mates. Because at the time before she sang that song last week, she wasn't fully in love with her to the point where she's going to risk her whole life, her whole baby's life, and everything to support her in this mission. So I thought that was a good way. It just reinforced her motivation. You know, she would do whatever it takes to avenge her family if she was in those shoes. She's been through something similar trauma before, so she understands what Ellie's going through. So I liked how they put that in just to reinforce her motivation. Because before that, I was thinking, man, you weren't even sure you were in love with her before. She was just your mate. Now you're risking your and your baby's life for her. But now after the story, there's a bit more behind it, which I liked. So I thought that was good how they filled that in.
Mm-hmm. With 2 more episodes to go, doesn't leave a lot of room, eh? I feel like you know, like I said, like we haven't even seen Isaac come into the picture again yet. Like, what are we gonna see a cliffhanger? Is episode 7 gonna be a cliffhanger and they're gonna split? I don't know if they're splitting 2 seasons for part 2 of the game. Is this because it looks like 7 episodes? It looks like it's near the end of the game. Is the Rat King the last thing to beat in the game, or?
I don't think it'll be the last thing, but because they still have the with the communities in it, Jacksonville, the Wolves, the Seraphites. I think they're the bigger problems than the Rat King.
So 2 episodes ago, you reckon it's going to be a flashback episode next episode?
Yeah,
we're going to see Joel. We're going to find out why Ellie's mad at him, and that'll give us a clue into Ellie turning to the dark side, which is what I've been waiting for. So
yeah. Because I thought, like I said, I thought it was weird how she went all full crazy. That would be good to try to fill in some gaps there from her being that happy kid sleeping in the bed to going full freaking back just crazy, man.
Cause I was telling Karen, like, either the whole scene where she didn't give a damn where she was. All she wanted to know is where's Abby. That's all she was concentrating on. And no one would have given it. And she still didn't care. She just wanted to know that. I was like, bro, you're in the fucking bottom basement with these tools. Get the fuck out of here. But now she wants the information first. Like, damn.
Yeah, well, and that's what I mean. I think we're gonna hit to a cliffhanger. There's no way 2 episodes to go, and we're gonna have a whole full story with when Abby shows up again.
Yeah,
it can't be that easy.
Right. Yeah,
you can't just see Ellie and just and end it right there.
Yeah,
but there has to be more.
Plus, I think Abby's got to, like, if you say if Ellie is the bad person, they need to fill in more of Abby's backstory to sort of paint a picture of her as well to help with that transition. I think.
Yeah,
because I sort of agree with that. Take a little bit, but it's going to take a bit more. At the moment, they've just got Abby coming in, killing Joel, and then taking off. So I think if they fill in more of her backstory, which they're not going to do in 2 remaining episodes, so there's going to be season 3 with Abby and Ellie probably still chasing her, I reckon.
Yep. There'll probably be a little backstory with Abby, and then somewhere in the background, Ellie's coming along to kick her ass.
I like your point, Stace, about how Abby and Ellie are like a mirror of each other, eh? Their motivations have been the same. Their revenge, eh? So I wonder if they're going to be a team in the future. They could be a team. You know, they might like on Walking Dead. You know, who's the guy?
Rick.
Negan. Like
Oh,
he kills.
Yeah.
Who's it? Who's the girl?
No, he killed the Asian guy. He
Yeah.
was one of the top.
But
Like,
his wife, eh?
the Black Widow. She's still alive.
So they're a team now, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're in New York at the moment. I think they got another season coming out with their shit too.
Have they?
Yeah, I watched the first one. I'm still watching it.
Well, they're proven they can go 12 seasons with no evolution of the zombies, man. Still the same walking
same
around.
Zombies.
The same walking around doing the same old shit. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen, eh? I think we're going to end the season with a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think
you have to wait for another year for the next one.
Yeah, drag it to season 3 by the looks of it.
Tommy's there too, so he's somewhere on the other side of the town. So we're gonna meet him again.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I was thinking, okay, here's Jesse. I didn't expect Jesse to show up, but when he did, I was thinking, okay, here's the person they're gonna kill. If you don't want to kill Dinah, you need someone else, and I think it's gonna be Jesse. Eh? Or Tommy.
I wonder if it might be Tommy. Yeah, maybe Tommy. Because then Jesse can be the new prime minister or whatever of the town, you know?
Or what about the arrow that's in Dana's leg? It might be poisoned.
Well, if The Last of Us changes their hero every season, you know, we had Joe in the first one, we got Ellie in this one. Are we going to see another change in the next season? Someone gonna take the reins?
Man, it might be Abby.
Yeah, it might be Abby. Because like you guys, I like that story with WLF versus the Seraphites. Eh?
Yeah, good. Yeah, see that. So very interesting.
Sweet boys. We'll go for some last words, Eric.
Yes, yeah. Can't wait to see the next episode. Mainly for like how we were talking about earlier with Ellie and the motives. So it'll be good into seeing that. But like I was saying, I think it's going to be a backflash. I don't know how much of the episode is going to be a backflash. Hopefully, they come back to the current story at hand, and we get to see more. But I'm not holding my breath, so I don't know how good that the next episode is going to be. But I think we're right in saying that they're split into two seasons. This last part 2, because I think that's it. That's the end of the story.
Is that right?
I don't think there's a part 3. So yeah, I think it was
talks of a new game coming out, a part 3 game.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I thought I saw it on social media.
Oh shit! Wow, it might be because of the program.
I think it's off the back of the program. Yeah.
Yeah. So they might be doing that. If that's the case, they might have already started making the game probably 2 years ago, in order to pull it out before the program comes out. If they're following the trend of the gaming world, like because they've already got the other 2 releases out, so I'll keep eye for that. Not that I want to buy it.
Hopefully they get the game out before the series. If you think about Game of Thrones, when it started to get ahead of the books, they started going downhill fast after that once they started making it up. So I'd hate to see The Last of Us, they're ahead of the game when they start freeballing it, and it's like, holy shit, man.
Because those showrunners for Game of Thrones, they fucked it up, eh?
They really did, man.
Goes back to the wall,
they fucked it up so much that even the writer doesn't want to write the book game.
Oh, man.
But I'd hate to see this show go down the similar path where they get ahead of the source material and then they're just making it up and it just turns to shit. So
when you think of how bad the ending of Game of Thrones was, I mean, the fans, they literally wiped it from pop culture. You never hear anything about Game of Thrones anywhere.
Yeah, they did too.
Like House of Dragons out, and that's not bad. That's all right.
Yeah,
but
they
the original Game of Thrones, you never see anything on social media, hear anything in anywhere. It's like erased. It's like that's how bad it was. Hey, this is how much the fans hated it. They just erased it from pop culture, man.
There must be a sign for them to fucking do a redo, man. Shit.
Yeah,
but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
That's what Stace.
Yeah, I'm probably with Eric. They're probably going to do some flashbacks. I think we haven't fully visited much of the Seraphites, so I wonder if we might get some Seraphite stuff, backstories next week as well. Like I mentioned, I haven't played the game, so I'm not. I don't know how it's going to end ultimately. but I do think the fungus is going to win, just because the humans, like we talked about, the humans are just really divided. And the evolution of the fungus, that's a key thing. So I'm sticking to my final evolution theory. I think Ellie is the final evolution. So I think the fungus wins and offers coexistence as an alternative, where you can be infected like Ellie, but you can, keep your sovereignty, bloody Treaty of Waitangi style shit at the end. So I'm going with that theory, man. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, my last words, man. It's a good show. It's a good show. It's a good story. Even though I don't like the main characters and probably their journey, I think it falls short of what season 1 was. And I still think Joel Pedro Pascal, his absence is a big loss for the show. And I think that's due to probably casting and not picking or not writing Ellie into someone more like a Joel sort of thing. Like I feel like this is Harry Potter kind of thing in the apocalypse world, or a kids thing in the zombie world sort of thing. But no, all in all, it's a good program. It's a good story. I love the other characters. I love the dynamics and context around the main characters, and so that's always good. And there's always good things to think about and imagine if they were to do spin-offs. You can do a lot of spin-offs from. I know they're doing a lot of spin-offs for The Walking Dead. I don't know how that's happening. I don't know why. I'd rather them do a whole lot of spin-offs for The Last of Us, because there's a lot of interesting things going on.
That'll be interesting. A spin-off. I wonder if they could do any good ones, eh?
Yeah. And plus the threat of the cordyceps, like the evolution of them, and they're just taking the threat to a whole new level every time, eh? The evolution of them just makes it worse and worse for the humans to live in their own land. So otherwise, humans have to come out with an idea or something to fight back, or just kill themselves, and that's an interesting story. So that's what I like about the show. So yeah, man. Yeah, boys, thanks for jumping on another episode of Channel 135. Got 2 more episodes of Last of Us to review. So see you guys back here next week. All right.
All good.
Have a good week. Bye.
You too.